plan came true. Everything we've done's been right.
Those things are there's so many unknowns. There is one known thing about the BHT, and that is 10% more women. A woman has at least a 10% higher possibility of getting breast cancer if she drinks milk where the cows have been injected with this Monsanto growth hormone.
Mm-hmm.
And there are very, very clear evidence. There's very clear evidence that the Roundup that comes through the grains and the products that are sprayed with this stuff comes right on through the finished product, and the poison in the Roundup comes right on through and affects the people who eat it. The problem with this is most people are not aware of it. They just are not aware of it because the news media is squelching information. Getting back to the BHT, about a year ago, there's two really good journalists on Fox News put together a documentary on this BHT, and they were forced to change it because Monsanto was a big advertiser on Fox. Well, they ended up losing their job. Never to get the thing published. Monsanto controlled the airwaves.
And that's on, which documentary is that? I've actually seen that documentary where they were local reporters and they tried to report on it again and again and again, and they were eventually let go, and then they won a lawsuit against the news agency for wrongfully firing them, correct?
That's correct. I think that's correct, yes.
Yeah, no, man, I wish I could remember what doc it was, because it was a really good doc, and it shows you the control that these, GM, like Monsanto is the devil, folks. I mean, these guys do not have your best interests at heart. They're not only about a bottom line, but they're literally about genetically modifying what we eat and put into our bodies and having total and complete control over what goes inside of us.
Have you heard the Steve Hickson case?
No, definitely not. Tell us about Steve Hickson.
Steve Hickson, a seed cleaner out in Illinois,
mm-hmm.
His place was broken into. His address book, etc., was gone through,
mm-hmm.
and I figure he had possibly had a GPS put on his seed cleaning machine that tracked him to every one of the customers. Now his customers are being served with papers, being sued because Monsanto thinks they're using Monsanto's seed. Probably isn't even the case. The seed cleaners are it's an attempt to put them out of business. FDA has found seed cleaners to be a source of contamination, which is crap. Seed cleaner just merely cleans the seeds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so FDA is saying, well, we've got to put these guys out of business because they are going to contaminate the seeds with their seed cleaners. What they're really doing is cleaning the seeds for using next year. However, with Monsanto, you got to buy new seed every year, and you got to pay them their legal fee every year. Monsanto is putting people out of business, and the yield doesn't get any better. Have you heard anything about over in India where these farmers bought this BT cotton seed and it didn't work, and the farmers in India there's thousands of them drinking Roundup to kill themselves because the stuff didn't work, or rather the BT cotton just didn't yield like they said it was gonna, and they're killing themselves just to get out of debt. It's really sad.
That is really sad, but it just shows you a brutal corporation like Monsanto is there to put the little guy out of business. And when you see Codex Alimentarius being pushed and basically supposed to be pushed by 2012, we may not have a choice what goes in our body. It's PICFA.org, Infowars.com, PrisonPlanet.com.
Do you understand how dark it is? How far down the line we are? How late it is?
Must not be sequestered. Raw dairy keeps you fit. Let's all reap the benefits, so legalize it. Don't pasteurize it. Don't homogenize it. Just legalize it. Raw milk from the farmer surely will not harm you. There's no need to change it. No chemical rearrangement. It's good for your
All right, folks, we are back. It's the Alex Jones Show. And that's David Eisen with the Real Milk Song.
It helps the next
Hopefully, all you people that called in and hated on me for having Metallica on will now forgive me for having the Real Milk Song and Jonas Stoltzfus. of the Pennsylvania Independent Consumer and Farmers Association. That's PICFA.org. And, these guys are on the front lines for trying to get you non-GMO fresh foods. Not only milk, not only cheese, but produce as well. And it's all under attack from these big corporations and the federal government sending in sting squads, undercover police officers to try to entrap people, like literally begging to sell for a woman farmer to sell a block of cheese. That's what the feds are up to. You think that they're fighting terrorism all the time. No, they're here to go after the common man. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, it's just unbelievably. Jonas, how are we going to overcome this?
Dave, I'm thinking of my buddy Dave who just got done singing that song for us. The way we overcome this is to get into action. First of all, find a farmer and buy from him. That way he can survive. And, of course, I gave you a couple of websites on how to find the farmers, localharvest.com, realmilk.com. Go to your local farmers market, get to know the people, talk to them. Because there's where you will get food that will help you stay healthy.
Now, a moment ago, you talked about them going after the consumers of this. They went after somebody's list of customers. I mean, that is just crazy to me. And how did this even come about?
Well, in this case, it's Monsanto going after the seed producers and going after the farmers who are keeping their seed and using it over again like they've been doing for centuries. This is Monsanto attempting to get control of the seeds and thus the food. But that's a great, great big thing. But we can fight back as consumers by demanding that our government labels the food that is made with GMO. Right now, it's about 90%. But the consumers have a right to know how that food's made. They have a right to know. But as the consumers wise up and educate themselves that there's a health deficiencies that this halfway food is giving us, and this is why we have such a health problem in this country. We are not eating nutrient-dense food. The Weston A. Price Foundation has been pushing the idea of eating properly, eating wisely, eating healthy. There's so much research that proves that this is the right way to go. Now, some of the problem is with the GMO that no one's researching it. We are all guinea pigs, which is genetically modified organisms. So
that's a great way to put it. We are all guinea pigs for this, and not only that, but we live in such a fast food culture that, sometimes 5 nights a week, these kids are eating McDonald's and Burger King, and then when they send their kids off to school, they're eating Lunchables. I mean, folks, there's literally almost nothing grosser you could give your kid than an Oscar Mayer Lunchable with meat that's been processed 10 times over, cheese that is probably less than 1% milk, if any. And I see people feed their kids this way, and I don't even know how they live with themselves. But you're right. It's because they have no idea, how dramatic it's gotten and how terrible this is to put into your system.
There's a pretty much documented fact that pasteurized homogenized milk will foster earache in infants and young children. It makes infants and young children get earache. Where if you would feed those infants and young children raw milk, then they would be much healthier. We had a case of a foster child at our home. We kept her for about 3 weeks. We were going to keep her about 2 weeks. Interim deal. She came to our home, and she screamed 18 hours of every day for about 2 days.
And that was all due to the milk, Jonas. Jonas Stoltzfus of the Pennsylvania Independent Consumers and Farmers Association, PFIAC.org.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold for your IRA? The financial industry refuses to recognize the value of real hard assets for your retirement. The truth be told, gold and silver has outperformed paper investments like stocks, bonds, and CDs, yet no word about IRAs. Perhaps the financial institutions want to maintain control of your assets by keeping you in paper. If you'd like to take a look at gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low return on your paper investments. Call 800-686-2237. Make sure that you secure your future. call 800-686-2237. That's 1-800-686-2237.